After all of our civil rights careers, all of that took place, uh, eventually what happened, we had kids. And my wife Marilyn wanted to stay in doing the movement. And it was like, I didn't want to stay in doing business. Like I said, we need a stable home now for da 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 da. And then we agreed that I would take the kids. I'd been a single parent before, so I wasn't having a problem taking the kids. And the kids were older. We had older kids then, and they wasn't fighting the city of Bakersfield, so I didn't have a problem being a single parent. And I met Barbara during that time, who helped raise those kids, and we had kids of our own. Before this happened, when I got out of the Navy in 1953, it was a very vibrant music scene happening. That's when I went back into commercial radio, as we call it, being a little poot butt DJ, as a rookie. I worked at the radio station KWBR, was owned by Warner Brothers, and was located in the Warner Village in Oakland. It was actually an indoor mall, one of the first indoor malls. It was a large warehouse structure that had several different businesses in it. And one of the businesses was the radio station. That's where I worked. I brokered my time. That means that we purchased the time and sold the time to compensate ourselves and pay for it. So I bought 15 minutes for $25. What you could do in that amount of time, you could have your opening theme song, which could be about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. There were no long, really, recordings those days. 3 minutes was a long recording. And my theme song was Tipsy by Lloyd Glenn. And you do the theme song, and after the theme song, you do a commercial. Say you sold that commercial for $10, and then now you're up to maybe 8 minutes into your program. You do another couple of 2.5 minute songs, and now you're up to 13 minutes in your program. So in between those two songs, you stick another commercial in. That's your $20, and the last commercial is your $30. So you covered your time. Any more you have above that, that goes in your pocket. But that's how you bought and sold your time. Also, the record industry, the producers would come down and would give you money under the table, tip over, to play the record. So you sort of kept yourself going by playing the latest releases and selling your own time. Well, that was in Oakland. Like I said, KWBR became KDIA, and I worked at the other station, KRE in Berkeley, which became KBLX. I think it's currently still KBLX. And escorted Lou Rawls to Pacifica Radio, KPFA, for an interview. They found out I'd done radio, and I wound up at Pacifica, sending programs to WBAI in New York and the other. There's three of us: WBAI and the Pacifica station in Los Angeles. Yes, and that was the Oakland broadcasting scene. At the same time, during this scene that I was interviewing people, Berkeley's Music City, the Music City record label, was producing Hank Ballard, the Midnighters, the Ravens, the Coasters, groups like that in Berkeley. And I was the DJ, the young DJ there that was there doing those recording sessions. I didn't necessarily know the musicians, but I was there when the musicians were recording. So that was an integral part of my life. And later on, since I was there and they saw me doing the sessions, I got interviews with these musicians. So you're just building your career as you go. I've done a lot of radio. When I left the Oakland area, I went to Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, I worked at station KBLA in Burbank, and again, remote broadcasting. This is where I first saw remote broadcasting because Johnny Otis, who was a very well-known black musician who held forth in Watts. And Watts was a place called the Barrel House. And he discovered a lot of people there. He featured like Little Esther Phillips, Big Mama Thornton, Big Maybelle, competing with Donna Washington and Sarah Vaughan and the others. Well, Johnny Otis lived up the street from me in Los Angeles. And he was the first person I saw do a remote broadcast. He had the equipment set up in his garage. So at 1 o'clock, when time to come to go on the air, he would go to his garage, like you see my studio here, and broadcast from there. Well, I got a gig on Western Avenue and Jefferson, which is one of the main thoroughfares in the West Side. Western Avenue ran north and south. And Jefferson Avenue ran east and west. And that intersection right there between Jefferson and a couple of intersections up Washington was a major black hub. That was the Red Hut, one of the clubs where all the after hours people would go to, like what you call a drive-in now, except that it wasn't a drive-in, it was just open after hours like that. And the musicians would congregate there. Well, across the street from there, in that same community, was a record shop. And I did my remote from the window of that record shop. So when my show was over, all I had to do was go across the street to the Red Hut and see all the hustlers and all the pimps and everybody who's coming in after hours. So that's the street life. And since I'd had this little foray back up there the other day, I knew the street life, so it wasn't not hard to communicate with the people in the street life, which made my show more popular. But the show's station was in Burbank. Burbank is up out of Los Angeles, cross Glendale, which is extremely white, to Burbank, which is whiter, all the way out of town, San Fernando Valley, the valleys, the Brogan, the Valley Girls, and up the mountain to Bakersfield. Well, when I'd go to the station to take my program or get my paycheck, I'd go out there, and the minute I left Los Angeles and hit Los Feliz, the cops would follow me from one to another until I got to Burbank, driving while black. Well, if I worked at night, there's a lot of times I did nighttime radio. When I got off the station, I got off the air. One night, Glendale, I eventually lived in those places that I saw. Glendale, I'm driving through here, and I'm looking at all these big homes and these big swimming pools and everything, and all of a sudden I see the red lights behind me, pull over. Well, I didn't think about it, and that was justified because I could have been a burglar, prowler or something like that. But back in the day, it didn't matter whether you was burglarizing or not. Just being black in that neighborhood, the police are going to follow you. They're going to stop you. Why are you here? What are you doing? In those neighborhoods, everybody was out by sundown. The maids caught the 5 o'clock, the 4 o'clock bus or whatever. They went to work, and you have no business in this community because all the workers have gone home. What are you doing here? So that was going through Glendale, and that was a part of still what was happening in Los Angeles before the riots. That was the kind of things that led to the big riots that eventually happened in Watts in Los Angeles, because the police. You could walk down the street at night. I mean, nobody wasn't worried about getting robbed or mugged or things like that. Yes, those things did happen. It wasn't absolutely free, but you could walk from downtown and walk home. Your chance of getting robbed and mugged in that part of town was nil. If you was over in that other part of town, yeah, maybe. But just walking home through this neighborhood, getting home from downtown, no problem, except for the Los Angeles Police Department. You could just be walking home. All right, they pull up beside you real quick. All right, up against the wall. Or put your hands on the car. You've done nothing. You're just walking home. Pat you down, all this other kind of stuff. drive on off. And it's like, this is constant harassment. So eventually they had the riots and all this stuff because of that. But back to the radio. During those days, the people on the air were Hunter Hancock. You know, he was the big top 40s DJ. I don't know who they were across the nation. Dick Clark. He would have been the Dick Clark of Los Angeles, the top 40. Wolfman Jack was just beginning to start his programming at that time. One of our black DJs down there was Johnny Adams. The music scene was incredible. You know, we had Lowell Folsom, Percy Mayfield, Big Mama Thornton, Dinah Washington, Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday, Lena Horne, Ruth Brown, Eileen Spivey, Cissy Williams. I mean, the women. You know, in country, the contrast was most of the musicians and singers were male. The musicians were male and the females were the vocalists. Here, these were women that played and sang. You know, Big Mama Thornton played drums and harmonica, as well as she was the one. For those of you who don't know who Big Mama Thornton was, she was the one that "You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog." That was her song originally, and the song that Janis Joplin made very popular, "Ball and Chain." That was the Big Mama Thornton song. So those were the caliber of the singers that we had. Dinah Washington, Blue Gardenia from the movie Blue Gardenia. Those people. So vibrant, very, very vibrant. The Dunbar Hotel, Central Avenue, Dunbar Hotel Annex, where all the black blues musicians stayed. Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Joe Williams, and Nellie Lutcher, those people. The ballrooms was the 5-4 Ballroom, the Avalon Ballroom, 5-4 Ballroom, Big Joe Turner holding forth. The Avalon Ballroom, dances were held. Louis Jordan coming into town, Roy Milton Band playing here tonight, and just on and on.